Thank you for having me today.
It's a really tough going. I was on the air Saturday when this news broke. It's heartbreaking. It's numbing. It's hard to even conceptualize that this happened in our country. And you're right there. Tell us about your constituents and what's going on right there on the ground.
Well, number one, I want to thank the country and the world, really, for the compassion that they've shown towards Pittsburgh, people reaching out. We had visitors from Israel yesterday, the Minister of the Diaspora, Naftali Bennett, we had the ambassador from Israel, Ron Dermer. Just globally, people have been sending their hearts out to Pittsburgh, and it's much, much appreciated. There's a lot of shock today. You're having folks go to work, and there's going to be an empty chair there, an empty desk. Families coming in from across the country, finding that chair empty that their loved one used to sit in. So our hearts go out. It's a broken-hearted city, but there's a resolve. A resolve to push back against the hatred that this individual showed, this hatred towards the Jewish people. He went to that synagogue, a place of worship, and just did untold horror. And so, again, he was arraigned today. This is going to be a process now that the courts are going to handle. The investigation continues, and we'll learn more and more about this individual.
This always puts us in a difficult, these sort of events puts us in a very difficult place as a nation to look inward, to consider things that we never thought we'd have to consider before, like having security, armed security at places of worship. I know that already that discussion has begun in Pittsburgh and throughout your state. I'm not sure what your position is on this, but people are grappling for answers on how to prevent this in the future.
Well, I think you have to start to push back against the kind of hatred and anti-Semitism this individual demonstrated. You know, I had the opportunity to visit Yad Vashem Memorial in Jerusalem a year and a half ago, and recalling a photo I saw there of a woman holding a child who was about to be shot to death. That kind of hatred happened in Pittsburgh on Saturday. And so the old adage, if you see something, say something. If you see something going on that somebody's posting on social media, that person, we need to be knowing who these people are. We have to create a culture of accountability. We have to hold people accountable for these views, and we have to continue to educate. You know, you hear surveys about people who do really not know about the Holocaust, right. Younger people, and right. So we got to continue to educate people about the hatred that's out there and what's happened to the Jewish people.
It's very difficult. You know, I think sadly, most Americans, younger Americans, don't know a lot about the history, even in this country, you know, of atrocities that have occurred, certainly of the Holocaust and World War II. But
well, we have to teach this in our schools.
Yeah, we should.
We're on the 80th anniversary of Kristallnacht.
Yeah. Well, what about the pushback, though? Where do we come as a nation? Our First Amendment is focused around free speech. How do we grapple with that and the idea that sometimes their free speech is hate speech?
Well, people have a right to speak, and people have a right to speak out against that hate speech. You know, and I remember the ACLU years ago defending Nazis marching in Skokie and the controversy that engendered. But when people are speaking, we have a right to speak out against that kind of hatred, and we need to do that.
Yeah, I agree. Not only do we have a right, but I think we have an obligation to as well. Sir, thank you very much.
You're absolutely right.
I know it's a difficult time for you, and God bless all the people in Pennsylvania, particularly Pittsburgh. Thank you.
And thank you again.
Okay, we'll see you soon. And right now we're waiting for